Okay, well, our power is all set. Power in, power out. Okay, and the speed controllers, well, they go to our flight controller. The flight controller has this little arrow that's pointing forward. That's supposed to go to the nose. But the problem is the USB connector, we don't want coming off the back here because that'd be really hard. So we want to turn it 90 degrees. And then we'll fix that in software. And so what we got to do now is take these temporaries off because they're not supposed to be there. And where's my standoffs? So I think I need a second package of standoffs. But how am I going to get the flight controller on here without another standoff? Well, we do have a problem. Oh! Well, back to the hobby store we go again. You should have told me I need 2 of these. Fudge me. So, here's what we're going to do in the meantime. We can still keep working. We'll just keep one of those on there. And let's see how he put his flight controller in. Because what we need to do is work on it upside down. So we'll just put this here temporarily.
And we'll deal with those in a minute. But what we do need to do, we need to hook up a way to power our VTX as well as powering our flight controller. Now what I'm going to do, I've got my VTX right here. It's actually a little Onway, a fantastic little 200 milliwatt.
How did he do his power
VTX.
supply?
These things are great because they provide a nice clean 5 volts out that will power our FPV camera. But in order to power this thing, we need to hook it up to our PDB, and I'm going to use this little pad right here, the 12 volt pad. So no matter what size voltage we put in, we're always going to run a nice. Okay,
well, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to take the cord from our satellite remote and we're going to cut it to connect.
To this PDB is a way to power our flight controller. Now I'm going to use this 5 volt pad right here.
So we're going to go and see, this is going to go to the remote. So I want some slack on there. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take the pins out. Not sure how to do that. You know what? Just cut it. We'll use it for something else. Okay. We'll save that for a rainy day. We're going to open this up a little. I'm going to separate this out. And let's go do the little. This is going on some very small ports. Very small points. Then on the bottom of the board, I take my positive, which is the orange, I'm going to assume, goes to the where it says 3 volts, because this is a 3 volts. buzzer. There it is. 3 volts. 3 volt positive. So I'm going to twist this a little. Maybe I'll even put a little heat shrink on it just to keep it nice and neat. Probably fit it. I should probably put this on first. I just want to use this so it doesn't unwind. Too bad. Red one, okay. Really got to go in that tiny place. I am even having trouble seeing it. 3 volts. Right? I think I need this to get this done, because this is really tiny. Get that nice and clean. Maybe I can see if I can get a little tin on there. Get a much closer look at it. Yeah, that looks good. It's holding. Flip it over and do the bottom side then. I mean the top side. This is the bottom side. I need to unwind these a little bit. A little slack. Okay, we have our connection for the camera now. Alright, now the next thing we gotta do is the signal wires. So, let's see what he says about this.
So I'm going to strip these ends right here and pre-tin those and solder those in, just like we have been all the way through this video. Alright, now we'll solder these in, and I'm going to make sure that the black is the ground. So I'm going to solder the ground in.
What's he talking about there?
Positive wire is going to go to that positive pad. And that's a good thing about having a little bit of slack here in the things too. If you need to move it around, you're still going to have that extra room. The ground wire.
One YouTuber I really enjoy watching videos of is Stu over at UAVfutures. He's from Australia, and he happened to make this video on a beginner's guide to building a FPV quadcopter. Stu got from GearBest this Dubai 210 Racer, the same one that they sent me to look at. So I thought, wow, here's a great video on how to put one together. Now me, being a complete novice, I've never built a quad racer before. I thought this was going to be invaluable. Let's watch for a moment.
Boys, right here. Now this is the Dubai 210 Racer, and this is going to be the beginner's guide to building an FPV quadcopter, because we're going to be using a kit which comes with our motors, our ESCs, and our frames. And all you've got to one frame. All you've got to do is source your FPV gear and also the right receiver that's going to talk to your radio. So if you've been thinking about building a quadcopter for a while, or you're not 100% sure on what components to get, and it's a little bit daunting, that's what this video is for, because we've chosen a kit and we're going to be putting it together and then pretty much getting some awesome flights out of it. Anyway, without further ado, let's stick it on the bench. I'll show you what you need and let's get building.
Now here's the problem. This guy's a pro. He's been doing hundreds of drones. He knows what he's doing. And he's showing it to people who have no idea at all what they're doing, like me. That's where I ran into some problems. Because, you know, when you explain things and you really know what you're talking about, you sometimes leave out some obvious details because they're not because they're so obvious to you, but not really obvious to the guy who's never done it before. I'm going to show you where I got screwed up.
Alrighty, so now it's time to look at
now, here's the thing that he's doing that's different. What he's doing is not using the supplied pins, which is something that I think a beginner really should be doing, such as myself. He was soldering directly onto the flight controller board, and I thought, yeah, I'm a savvy guy, I've done some soldering, I'm going to do that. So I tinned the board just as he did, and I'm just going to sneak ahead a little bit here. And I got all my tin spots in, and I said, okay, I'm going to put my sensor wires right on there to 1, 2, 3, and 4, just as he's doing there. And that made complete logical sense to me, and I did that perfectly.
In here, I'm going to zoom in so you can see what we're doing.
If you can see here, he had the ESC's powers directly on the power supply board. Right there, that is an ESC wire. This is an ESC wire, and then he's putting the sense wires here. Now, when I did this, I had all kinds of terrible problems. Clean flight wasn't working. It was just a total nightmare for me. I did everything he said, everything he meant as far as I could tell, but it wouldn't function. Can't tell you why. Maybe they changed the design of the Seriously Pro flight controller board. Maybe they changed clean flight. I don't know, but this did not work for me. I burned out 2 flight controllers trying to get this right. What eventually I did is I gave up on this method, and with the help of Christian over at Maniac's Hobbies, what I did was we replaced the same flight controller with the same model, exact same board, and we wired up all of the, we used the pins and we put all of the sense wires here, all the positives here, all the grounds here, and all the ESCs were wired directly to the flight controller board and not the power supply board. And once we did that, it worked perfectly. The only other thing that I did different than where he did the USB on the side, because of all these pins, I had to have my front here and my USB down here. Now, true, it's a little bit of a pain to get the USB in here, but that's the only way you can get the pins in over here. So that was that. And other than that, everything else worked out just fine. And I do encourage you to subscribe to the UAVfutures, Stu's YouTube channel, because he really has some great content. But as I will say, as in everything on the internet, take everything with a grain of salt. Your mileage may vary.
Out that will power our FPV camera. But in order to power this thing, we need to hook it up to our PDB, and I'm going to use this little pad right here.
Okay, so that would be our transmitter. This is our transmitter, which is made by Spektrum. We have to have a way to power our video transmitter. Okay, I think this, and we have these 3 wires, which is power, ground, and audio. Well, we don't have an audio. And then this video ground DC, I believe, goes to our camera. which is a nice little camera we have. And where were we? Transmitter, camera, transmitter, connector, camera. This connects 3 and 4. Oh, that's the OSD. And here we got our on-screen board, which has our 4 connectors for programming. And I'm a little confused, but let's see what he does.
Here, the 12 volt pad, so no matter what size voltage we put in, we're always going to run a nice 12 volts to our PDB. So I'm going to solder that up right now. There we go. So now we've got a way of powering our FPV system. And now the only other thing we need to solder to this PDB is a way to power our flight controller. Now I'm going to use this 5 volt pad right here.
And we're going to take a break to read some instructions. We are back. We had to go to Maniacs Hobbies once again, second time, for another bag of standoffs. A second bag of standoffs. Because I said to Christian over at Maniacs Hobbies, I should be mad at you because you only sold me 1 bag of these and I had to come back for a second bag. But I'm not, because I had some questions for you to answer and I needed you to check some things for me. So he did, and of course I had my positive wire connected to the wrong place on the power supply board. And that was very bad what I did. And oh, we got some smoke.
Oh man!
Going to try this once again. I'm going to bring up my magnifying glass one more time because it's a very small point that I have to get to. And I'm going to hit it with a little piece of solder, the 3-point part. Again, this is because I'm using a Spektrum satellite receiver and this doesn't have a way to power it because it's only 3 volts.
Well, smack my mama!
Okay. And let's get that was done. Okay, so let's get my wire there. Hopefully I can do this.
We'll be experiencing some turbulence. Shouldn't last more than 15
It
20
looks like
minutes.
it's a little bent here. Just straighten that out a little. Oop. Okay, now I have a straight wire. It's already been pre-tinned from before. And I'm going to get it to come down here to this positive port and just pull. And that is in there nice and strong.
Works every time.
I mean, there's a few things that I shouldn't have done that I did do that he pointed out, but I said most of it is like 6 to 1. It's whatever you want. So now I got to create another wire. I need to find something that I can bridge to the board here for power. Now let's see if I have any scrap wires here that are long enough. That's more than enough there. So let's just cut off a piece there, put this back. And again, I just need the red and the black. There's no yellow wire here, so I'm gonna just de-twist that. It's nice. I got some nice twist. It was in my hand, and oh, there it is. All right, twist it up nice and tight. And let's see what we can do on it. I was thinking, just make it cooler by just putting a little heat shrink on it just to make it stand out a little more. Or something green. I know it's not really necessary, but you know, I like it. All right, we're gonna just do this to make it a little different. And I don't know if this is gonna, but I'm just gonna make this shrink down. Okay, we are now at at our journey. We have the completed drone with the antenna on the transmitter and the camera. And we have a monitor. And we have a battery. Let's see if it turns on and posts. Do you hear that? Now, how about this? Do we have a picture? We have a picture. Who is that? Look at that guy. Look! 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 We have a picture. We have video. We have lights and life. And did you hear that wonderful toot sound? The only thing we haven't done is plugged in our transmitter, our receiver, but I'm sure that's going to be fine. So, now it's time to program. And I know the motors are working, or at least getting power, because, watch this, I'm going to do it again. As I plug it in, they all do a little twitch. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Shazam!
You see that? That tells me the ESC's got power.
Works every time.
Wonderful. Now we're ready for step 2. I'm going to clean all this up, and in the next video we're going to do some programming in Clean Flight, Beta Flight, whatever, and we're going to make this work. Thanks a lot. I'm Joel Lightcatcher. Join me again on the Lightech channel.
This is your captain speaking. On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant day.